What's the estimate?
I'm Nazir al-mujaahid, and just want to make a few comments and pose a couple questions. I'm the unfortunate guy. I know some people have asked. I'm the unfortunate individual who had the opportunity to be in the Audi where it was held up and had to actually utilize my firearm during that situation. Oh, yeah. So I do want to let you know, if you do not want to have a firearm, fine, that's cool. But don't mess with my right to have it. See, America has an issue that's a violence problem, not a gun violence problem. Gun violence is just a symptom. This country was founded on violence. We say it every time we hear our national anthem of rockets, red glare, bombs bursting in air. We have to deal with that real root of the problem before we just get to going and talking about these symptoms. So, talking about gun shows, for example, Mr. Ingram brought it up. He said he was amazed at what he saw. I remember the first time I went to a gun show as well. But when you look at it, it takes perspective, because when you see that 98% of guns sold at gun shows require these background checks that they say are mandatory, and these other private individuals who even asked him, maybe it's a courtesy, maybe he didn't give a damn, but he said, are you a felon? Well, no, then you can buy it. Would he prefer to have it done on the street corner? Or do you think that actually passing a law is going to stop criminals from passing guns? I mean, we have to be real about it. And then if a person, think about dead people tell no tales. So it would be a great utopia if we lived in America and there were no guns and we just used bubbles. Or if the police responded within seconds as opposed to minutes instead of showing up to investigate. And then we have a situation with our police department, don't we? I'm not the most trusting of our police department when they rape and sexually assault individuals. I have a rotator cuff tear right now because I was pulled over driving a Camaro and got brutalized by the police. Our police chief stated that he's going to see if a person has a right to a gun after he throws them down and takes it and calls the police officers troops. I have a problem with that. But my wife and I and our 8 children have a right to protect ourselves. So if you don't like it or don't want it, that's fine. But let's look at the data that we do have, like the harshest gun control laws in the nation, like Chicago, where our president is from, and their murder rate, which is the highest across the country. I'm just saying, it's not a coincidence. Now, do I know people that have been killed? A friend of mine was killed complying to an armed robbery at Playmakers a few years ago, dead. My 16-year-old brother was killed from gun violence. But it's not the piece of plastic and metal that jumped up and killed him. It's the individual and the thinking behind it. So until we get to the source, we're just going to talk back and forth and wish away guns, and it's not going to happen. So I would like to pose to Sheriff Clarke, do you believe and why do you believe, and I feel he's unfortunately got a lot of disrespect from our leaders in our community, you know, they like to wish away things, but I believe a well-armed society is a polite society. So, Sheriff Clarke, with respect to your public service announcement, they did not just say, everybody go out and get guns, which to me is disrespectful. He just lets you know the reality. I witnessed an armed robbery next door to me, and it took 18 minutes for the doggone police department to show up. I had my firearm, I saw it right outside, but instead of me shooting like some vigilante, as people think that these law-abiding concealed carry holders all of a sudden turns into vigilantes, I waited, provided a good witness. Now, did that stop anything? No, it doesn't, but I'm going to ask Mr. Clarke, respectfully, to explain why he felt in the public service message. It's those who choose to have some type of firearm and training to actually defend themselves, as opposed to waiting for the ever so present police to save our asses.
Wow. That's a good one.
Thanks for your question and comment. Did you ever get your firearm back?
I got it back in April.
Got it back?
Yeah.
I know that was an issue talked about in the media as well. It took you forever to get that thing back.
Indeed.
Just curious. It isn't up to me to decide, other than within the law, whether you should get a firearm, not get a firearm, possess one, not possess one. That's your individual choice. What I do as a law enforcement executive, and it's the most important responsibility I have, is to prevent people from being victimized by crime, not respond to it. And I've heard that a lot about, well, sheriff doesn't respond to, sheriff's office doesn't. If you're responding to crime, you're losing. That means crimes are occurring.
Right.
I'd rather be in an area, in a society where police are rarely called to crimes of violence. And then we can all say we hardly respond to crimes of violence, because that's the city that I grew up in. All right, but again, it's an individual choice, and I make that clear. It's up to you.